involved and that needs to stay up to speed.
Tim, I was going to ask, at the final meeting, did they vote on the CEO issue? Exactly. No, it's still going to be studied.
Trying to think about that. They voted to have the committee come back with a report on some of the issues that they hadn't covered yet, of what they have budgeted for the position, how much the position is really going to cost, and a few other issues. So they're coming back with more information before they do so.
Jim, I have a couple comments. On the IRS determination, I attended that one as well, and just to sort of piggyback on what Mr. Anderson was saying, I think it's really important that we prioritize that and get that going forward, because the other information that they shared, and I think that the point of joining in with a bigger group, obviously it's more cost effective and makes sense. But the IRS, when they, if you don't go ahead with this determination and the IRS comes knocking, which they're really, the content of the meeting said that 37 counties, as you stated, were really under scrutiny, so that clearly will probably occur. You're not given the same leniency and grace period to adjust or correct or do whatever you need to do if you don't come forward. So I think the point of us going forward with the determination, it sort of is going into their arena and cooperating, and I think that seems to make a lot of sense. So that if there are any things that need to be adjusted or dealt with, you're given this, I don't know if it's called the grace period, what it's called, but it's giving you, they give you time to correct, and they're not seeing it in a punitive manner. So I think that's something that should be a priority. Also, I attended a meeting on segregation of assets, and I think that's something that we maybe should get an analysis of, and it talked about it's very important, especially in these volatile times and scrutiny of money markets and managers and the whole financial industry, that we need to pay attention to how our assets are held, and they gave some notes on that there were three basic ways that it could be held, and one was the preferred, the sort of more neutral, and one that was not preferred. So I think that we need to really look at that to make sure that ours are all being held in the best manner possible. So that workshop was called Segregation of Assets, and I might have material from it. I'm not sure, not all the meetings had material, some did. Another one that I found very interesting that I think we ought to take a look at, and it will tie in with our RFP process, is it was a meeting on corporate sustainability and investing, managing new opportunities and risks. And they had some top corporations that talked about their internal moves towards sustainability and how they were doing it as corporate entities, but how you also move that into your investment strategy. And they talked about a concept of ESG, environmental social governance, and it's different than social responsibility in terms of investing, because what they also factor in is not just the social responsibility components, but they also have the shareholder value and financial return, and they do an analysis of best in class, so you're not disregarding your return when you go after the social responsibility component. So they had a number of top speakers on that. The panel was very impressive. They talked about the UN protocols for investments, where you integrate your ESG investment strategy into your portfolio and how you do that. One reference was made to PERS and some of the green building investments they've done, and they are actually performing better than a number of the other investments that they have. So there's some actual good outcomes in the short time that this concept's been out there in terms of looking at these components. And I think it's something that we need to do. I think we need to take a look at that, and we all sort of, I think, need to have that level of awareness, and that we should take on the responsibility to see where our investments are with respect to environmental and social issues. And so this was a very well attended, and they were very impressive panelists that spoke. One was from Entel Corporation, and a group called Sustainable Asset Management. So I think that's something I'd like us to maybe schedule some time for and look at.
But,
Just a thought too, is that as we go through the RFP process, both for whether it's investment policy or whether it's criteria by which you select a consultant, those could be areas that we can use to discussion.
And I also attended the workshop on legislation. Nothing really jumped out, and sometimes there seemed to be things that would be more pertinent to us. And I don't know, maybe Tim, you remember, I didn't see anything that really had any immediate or dramatic effect on the kinds of issues we're dealing with. But it's always good to attend the legislative ones to see. And I felt very satisfied that the group has some very top people, and they try to work with STRs and PERS when it's appropriate. They seem very knowledgeable, the folks that they had on this actual SACRS committee that are dealing with legislation. So they did a very good PowerPoint presentation, and they had their, SACRS has a lobbyist on these issues. And, you know, a lot of the things they talked about, I think, really made sense. I think it's a slow, incremental process. And you know, one thing I didn't see was reform on the workers' comp issues that we have had concerns of in the past, and it basically what impacts a lot of our decision-making with respect to disabilities is going to have to be reformed at the state level, and that one is certainly slow to change. But on other levels, I don't remember anything that really jumped out in terms of legislation that might be pending.
Just say the one area